So the first speaker to explain to us how we can break the boundaries of innovation is our Chief Executive Officer, Murray Rode.
Thank you, Thomas. Well, hello, everyone. Great to see you. I want to add my thanks to all of you spending your time with us this last few days, and thank you to our partners and sponsors, and to our speakers. We've said several times just how pleased we were and honored to have so many customer speakers this year, a record number, as we say. Before we hear these next speakers, I want to take a little time to synthesize, if you will, what we heard about TIBCO products on the first day, and then those amazing customer stories that you've been hearing in the breakouts, and a couple of which we heard yesterday in general session. Some really cool stories about how our customers are innovating. And I want to try and bring those two together to relate it to how we think, how TIBCO thinks about our role in helping you innovate and how that relates to our overall strategy as a company today. So in thinking about what I was going to say, it took me back a little bit to the start of my career, many years ago now, as a management consultant, and this was in the late 80s. And I was fairly new to the consulting business, and one of the disciplines that I got involved with was something called business process reengineering, which at the time was a very hot kind of area for management consultants. I think many of you use business process reengineering almost as a regular part of your jobs today, but back then it was something you hired a management consultant for, and you would go in and map out the process in a business. And then you would look for ways to optimize that process, eliminate redundancies, streamline the process. And again, remember, this is now late 80s, going into the 90s. And at that time, a lot of the conventional wisdom about BPR was really that the big innovation came from identifying those changes in the process that could improve the way things worked. And technology was kind of a more minor enabler in that concept. Now, over the 4 or 5 years that I did this, it was interesting thinking back about it, because that conventional wisdom flipped, and it became more about a balance between the two, that the technology was as important as the innovation in the process itself, and that the two had a very symbiotic relationship. Now, I think back on that now and realize that that was the very early stages of what we see as the focus on digital business today. Now, you think about how there is a preoccupation today with being digital. How can I be more digital? How can I think of my business primarily as digital? And if you accept what I'm telling you about what I learned back then as a management consultant, you can kind of see the shift continue. It's more about the technology, more about what it can do to innovate in a business. So then I started thinking, well, we'd done this survey. You've heard Thomas refer to it. We did this fairly extensive survey, almost 600 companies that we talked to, and learned a lot from that, a lot of interesting input about innovation, about what priorities our customers have, and companies outside of our customer base as well. And I went to 2 survey questions in particular to get a little bit more context. The first was this question about how important are certain innovation tactics, techniques in your organization focused on technology. So big priorities there: removing legacy technology, integration of what you have, cloud and big data, all came up as important. And of course, the adoption of disruptive technology is also important. Second question I looked at was specifically around the technologies. What were people saying, what were you saying are the priorities? Again, cloud comes up, analytics comes up, integration comes up, thankfully, as an integration company, that was reassuring. And then IoT and of course, artificial intelligence and machine learning. All things that make sense because they do support this notion of digital business. They're the kinds of technologies we're all focusing on to do more in digital business. It also aligns, all kidding aside, aligns very precisely with our priorities. If you saw the kinds of things we talked about over the last few days, the sorts of innovations we've announced here at the conference, all very much aligned with these priorities that we're hearing from you. And it's very much in our mission to think of ourselves as a bridge from where you are today to the future, to help you make that transition to the technologies you need to enable your digital business strategy. And I think when you look even one more level deeper at our customers, you see some innovation patterns that repeat. And what's interesting about these innovation patterns is they have a business angle or a business dimension, and they have a technology dimension. And it's the intersection of those that create the most interesting innovations. So a technology in and of itself is really not that interesting if it can't be put to use. And we heard this, I think, in yesterday from Emiliano from the Rome Airport example, and just how important the business angle is to this. So the business driver has to be made better or enabled by the technology. And in today's digital world, the notion of just a business innovation isn't enough anymore. So the two have to come together in some meaningful fashion. It's the combination that's meaningful. So some of these that we see across our customer base, from a business perspective, we see some repeat. I'm going to list out 4 here. There are certainly others, but 4 that come up pretty often. Eliminating the middleman, or think of that as various ways of optimizing the supply chain. Secondly, employee empowerment. How do you enable your employees to do more with technology and do more, therefore, for your customers? Third is treating data as a revenue source in and of itself. Data as a business, I call it here. And then fourthly, compelling customer experiences, creating a better experience for the customer. Now, from that technology angle, there's 4 that I think are interesting. One is if my slide continues to advance. There we go. One is the notion of inside automation. So this is the concept that we want to automate understanding the data as opposed to just creating a report and having someone find the interesting patterns, some human do it. There's so much data happening so fast. We're looking for ways to use technology to find those insights in a more automated fashion. Secondly, the notion of scalable infrastructure for integrating and orchestrating the various components that you bring together in any digital solution. Thirdly, the notion of API connectivity and how you use APIs to enhance the ability to connect with your ecosystem. And then fourthly, this notion of digital persona, how you represent the customer as a digital persona. So it's these intersection points that create these very pivotal innovations. I want to give you a few examples. One, customer of ours, T-Mobile, who created a 10-fold increase in their scalability and reduced time to market by 40% for new products and offerings by using microservices, container technology, and creating this flexible, scalable infrastructure so they could configure and reconfigure to offer new products like a new iPhone launch and handle the spike in demand. Another good example that involves 2 different dimensions here, the notion of APIs and eliminating the middleman. Think of Stack Sports here. They were a Trailblazer award winner yesterday. They, if you recall, create this ecosystem among teams, athletes, leagues, governing bodies. They've shortened the time to market for their new offerings by 12-fold and integrated over 25 companies in a couple of years. All leveraging API-based connectivity and integration to simplify that task of creating the ecosystem. Third example with another set of dimensions, JetBlue, another customer of ours, has equipped 21,000 employees with analytics and insight so that the employee is empowered to do more for the customer, do more in the business, create a better experience overall for their customers. And then lastly, bringing in another set of dimensions. Interesting company, TX Odds. They're in the business of sports betting data. So they're a great example of data as a business. And all their data is delivered digitally, and so it's the digital persona that matters. How they bring the two together here to go from concept to product offering in 2 days or less. Creating this right kind of digital representation that the customer wants so that they can make sense of all the various types of data that they might access. So we've been working on these sorts of patterns with all of you over quite a long period of time, and you see across our customer base many examples of these intersections. And of course, sometimes it's more than one type of intersection, but I think it's often a key one that provides the anchor for innovation that you can implement. So as we've done this over the years, we've been really impressed with what our customers have been able to do. The key is, again, how we bring it together. And we've been looking at how to package this up and make it easier to consume. And that's really been the mission of the last few years for TIBCO. It's been about how do we bring the ability together, the technologies together that we sell to enable through a single platform your innovation. That's why our core mission is to be the leading platform for digital business. That's our mission, that's our focus. And we're doing that through the Connected Intelligence Cloud. This conference here was a real culmination of efforts to put all our core IP into the Connected Intelligence Cloud, or what we refer to as the CIC. It's about packaging up our innovation to make it easier for you to achieve yours. It's about connecting systems and then giving you the tools, the analytical tools, to get more out of your data and your algorithms. Two big pillars that we focus on, that connectivity and integration, analytics and data science. Those are the two parts we think are fundamental to a successful digital business strategy, and why we're making them available in this single packaging of the CIC. And of course, it's all enabled with real-time and event-driven capabilities that we've been known for since our inception. It's about being configurable and reconfigurable to meet your needs as they change in enabling your digital business innovation. It's a kind of learning model. We like this idea of being able to discover the patterns, implement those rules or those patterns, and then be able to sense and respond and change and learn as you need to modify the performance of your systems on top of that platform. And it's still deployable anywhere and everywhere. So it means it can be pure cloud, it can be hybrid, or it can be on-prem. It's about the breadth, the flexibility, and the control for your innovation. That's why we think about the strategy here with the CIC and what it means as really enabling limitless innovation for you. It's about empowering all the people in your organization, from the business to the technology persona, to be able to make use of the platform. It's about bringing data science to the masses, I like to say, enabling as much of the organization as possible to use data science techniques and leverage algorithms. And thirdly, it's about an integration fabric that can connect to any system or device. We very specifically don't sell monolithic fixed applications. That's not what we're about. We're not about creating constraints, we're about removing them so you can assemble the pieces the way you want as you need it. That's why we're spending over 17% of our total revenues, and at about $1 billion company, that's a really sizable spend on R&D to continue to fuel innovation around this platform. It's why we've embraced open source, why we're delivering our own open source to the market and embrace the other open source, relevant open source around the platform. And it's why we continue to stretch the boundaries with things like blockchain and the pervasive use of AI throughout the platform. And hopefully you've seen that in what we've been talking about the last couple of days. But the bottom line here is we love helping you solve big problems and enabling innovation. And I feel very fortunate to work with the people I do to help create the platform, but just as fortunate to work with all of you, our customers and partners, in this kind of innovation that we've been achieving together. And I just can't wait to see what more we'll do together in the coming years. So thanks for being here, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon.